Good afternoon. My name's Andrew. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Buick New Model Feature Seminar. Now, we're doing this just as Buick celebrates its 100th anniversary of the incorporation of the Buick Motor Car Company of Flint, Michigan, originally established in January of 1904. Now, one of the things that distinguished early vehicles produced at the Flint factory was the strength of the valve and head engine. And that engine did carry David Dunbar Buick's name. Now, from the small beginnings as an engine building shop in Detroit, the engine builder company went on to become the cornerstone of General Motors' lineup. And they've also been a pioneer in the V6 engine development. So let's take a look at our lineup for today and what we're going to be discussing. And while we're talking about engines, our first topic is going to be powertrain enhancements and features for 2004. Then we're going to take a look at some new features for the Buick Century and the Regal models. We also have a guest here to answer any questions on those vehicles. After that, we're going to discuss how technicians can play an important role in boosting J.D. Power initial quality scores for the new Regal. We also have a video covering the pre-delivery inspection and other items that can boost a customer's perception of their new Regal. After that video, we're going to have our first call-in session where that's going to be your opportunity to call in with questions on the Century and the Regal. After that, we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the 04 Rendezvous Ultra, including the new 3.6-liter high-feature V6 engine. And for our final item today, we're going to take a look at the all-new Buick Rainer, which marks Buick's entry into the mid-size truck SUV market. And we do have two video segments that are going to highlight the Rainer features. And then we're going to have a call-in session on the Rainer. So if you have a question on that new vehicle, we do have a guest here to help address those. It's probably also a good idea to have something to write on in front of you in case there's any information you want to jot down for later reference. Now let's get started with some powertrain features for 2004. Now, the success of Buick's mainstay 3800 V6 engine, both the naturally aspirated, which is the L36 engine, and the supercharged version, which is the L67, both stem from GM's powertrain's ongoing program of continuous refinement and improvement for these power plants. Now, for 2004, both versions of the 3800 V6 used in the Park Avenue, LeSabre, and the Regal benefit from improved technology that's been obtained from the Series 3 3800 V6. Now, we do have a photo of that Series 3 engine. And for now, this new Series 3 engine is used exclusively in the 2004 Pontiac Grand Prix. But I'll tell you what, let's get back to the Series 2 and take a look at some of the improvements that we're going to see in the Buick lineup. First of all, we have new oxygen sensors on all 3800 Series 2 engines. They have a greater heating capacity, 8.5 watts for the front sensor and 7.5 watts for the rear sensor. Now, this is compared to the previous model year, which offered 6 watts on both sensors. Now, of course, this increased wattage allows the sensors to reach their most efficient operating temperature more quickly, and this is going to help us achieve closed-loop operation in a matter of seconds. Now, these new sensors and their heating circuits are also pulse width modulated. This allows the PCM to manage them at variable heating rates rather than with a basic on and off type switch. The 3800 Series 2 is managed by a new powertrain control module. This is GM's P04 PCM. And of course, it's going to add software capability to manage these new oxygen sensors. There's also a new fuel pressure regulator for this year. It's a 2-ply diaphragm, and it replaces the previous single-ply diaphragm. Now, the new regulator is common with other GM engines, and it works in conjunction with other safety systems that cut the flow of fuel to the engine in the event of a vehicle accident. Now, this 3800 Series 2 also benefits from improved sealing technology. Let's take a look at some of those advancements. And for example, the rocker arm cover and the oil pan gaskets are manufactured from an enhanced elastomer material. The new gaskets provide better bead sealing and are more resistant to oil seepage for the life of the engine. The rocker cover gaskets are designed to enhance structural rigidity of the covers, reducing overall engine vibration. The lower intake manifold gaskets are manufactured from a new material which is more resistant than the previous silicone material to exposure to engine coolant. Now, these new gaskets are designed to maintain the appropriate gasket compression for the life of the engine. The 3800 Series 2 is also equipped with the new starter for 2004. And this new starter is designed to operate at the same specifications that the previous starter was, but this unit is 2.5 pounds lighter. And that in turn takes 2.5 pounds off the overall engine weight. Let's talk about recommended lubrication for the Series 2. It's now 5W30 rather than 10W30 in previous 3800s. Now with the lighter oil, the maximum change interval doesn't change. Now, General Motors' industry-leading oil life monitor still functions the same way and recommends a change when it's actually needed rather than at a predetermined mileage interval. The owner's manuals and cars equipped with the 3800 Series 2 will continue to recommend an oil change at least once every year. Now, there's also been some common changes to the Series 2, and some of the components from the Series 3 have made their way into the Series 2. Now, most of these components are somewhat small, common parts here. They can range from fasteners such as cylinder head bolts all the way up to some of the electrical connectors. Now, this commonality has further increased the efficiency and the quality of the 3800 engine assembly plant that is located in Flint, Michigan. Now, let's briefly take a look at some other changes that have been made to other Buick powertrains in use. The same P04 PCM that we saw on the 3800 V6 is now common with the PCM used on the base Century, the 3100, that's the LG8 engine, and the Rendezvous with the 3400, that's the LA1. Also, production of the 3100 shifts this year to the Tonawanda, New York engine plant. Now also there's more common parts are going to be shared between the 31 and the 3400 engines. And also there's going to be a new high-value 3500 V6 engine that is going to also be produced at New York's Tonawanda power plant there, powertrain plant. The 3100 and the 3400 V6s are now equipped with new head gaskets, featuring a layer of graphite applied over perforated stainless steel core. The design enhances gasket durability and optimizes performance over the life of the engine. The water pump is redesigned for improved durability and sealing, and it also is going to utilize a stamped steel impeller, replacing the former cast iron unit. And like the head gaskets, most of the other gaskets on the 31 and 3400 use more durable seal materials for longer life. Also, a new flywheel is lighter. That's going to help with engine efficiency. Some additional improvements for the 3400 engine are new lighter cam bearings manufactured from a new alloy design to help reduce noise and friction. Starters for the 3400s in the Rendezvous feature a new solenoid design. Well, the solenoid now has a vent, which allows for any collected moisture to dissipate quickly, ensuring peak starter performance during cold weather operation. The catalytic converter for the 3400 is improved to perform more efficiently with less precious metals in the catalyst substrate. Well, that's all we have for you for the powertrain improvements. Let's move on to talk about the Buick Century and Regal. Now, for 04, the Century is available with 3 package options. It can come as standard, custom, and limited. Now, each of these packages offers customers exceptional value by combining a number of popular features into attractively priced groupings. Now, the Century for 2004 also adds some additional safety features. For 04, we now see rear-wheel disc brakes on the Century. There's also impact protection. Okay, there's energy-absorbing foam-backed interior trim on the pillars and the roof rails, and that does exceed federal regulations, federal safety regulations. Now, the 2004 Regal will also be offered with new option packages. And for 04, OnStar, which is the 24-hour direct link driver assistance and navigation assistance, is standard on the Regal GS. It's available on the LS model, and of course it does come with a renewable 1-year safe and sound security package. Now, both the Century and the Regal will receive new radio options for 2004. Let's take a look at those. First, we have the U1P sound system. That's a sound system that utilizes a CD player. That is standard equipment. The U1Q sound system with a CD and cassette player is available. This is like the version we're taking a look at here. Now, these audio systems are similar to those that are available on the current Rendezvous models, and of course they are equipped with radio data system, that's RDS. When tuned to an FM station that can broadcast RDS information, radio can seek the stations broadcasting a selected type of programming or traffic announcements. Also has the ability to receive announcements concerning local and national emergencies. And it does have the ability to display messages from radio stations. Now, when tuned to an RDS station, the station name or the call letters are going to appear on the radio display instead of the frequency that is selected. Now, RDS stations may also provide a time of day, a program type, and it can also display the name of the program that's currently being broadcast. Now, you're going to find a full description of the sound system's operation in the owner's guide for the Century and the Regal for additional information. Well, let's keep moving forward. And typically, these new model features broadcasts are primarily intended to provide you with the latest technical information on vehicles for the upcoming model year. And we can't tell you that for 2004, it will be the last year for the current design Buick Regal. And in preparation for the introduction of the next generation vehicle, we want to discuss some steps that your dealership may take to ensure the 04 Regal provides customers with the best possible ownership experience. Now, Buick has been a long recognized leader in quality, and for the 2004 model year, the midsize car team is targeting a best in segment ranking for the J.D. Power initial quality for the Regal. Now, while the best in segment target is attainable, it does represent a challenge to everyone who lays their hands on the Regal before customer delivery. Now, you may be thinking increasing CSI scores or J.D. Power rating scores is beyond my capability as a technician. Well, actually, that's not the case. You as a technician do play a very pivotal role in the overall rating of your dealership and CSI. Now, many times the pre-delivery process is kind of overlooked as an ordinary task, but you got to keep in mind this is one of the most important functions for the customer before they receive their new vehicle. Now, customers who receive a vehicle that doesn't meet their expectations may question the dealership's attention to detail, and they may judge the service department accordingly. So it is very important to use a new vehicle prep as an opportunity to build the customer's confidence in your dealer and your procedures. And that's going to make sure that they return for repair and maintenance items in the future. Now, there is a bulletin, and some of you may have already seen this. It's Service Bulletin 0300890006. It was released in March of this year, and it identifies 3 areas where correct new vehicle prep can help improve a customer's perception of your dealership and increase his or her satisfaction with their new vehicle purchase. Now, the first of 3 areas is removing the adhesive plastic covers from the steering wheel, the seats, and the interior door panels. The next item is setting and adjusting tire air pressures. And the third item is the exterior protection. Keep in mind, exterior protection is new for 2004 with the Regal. Now, we have prepared a video that highlights these 3 areas. And when we return from the video, we're going to have a guest here to answer any questions you may have on the new Century or Regal. So let's take a look at these 3 procedures.
Regal steering wheels, seats, and interior door panels are generally covered in plain or adhesive-backed plastic to protect the surfaces during assembly and dealer delivery. For example, the steering wheel is tightly wrapped in multiple layers of plastic with a packaging label instructing specifically not to remove with a knife or sharp object. Steering wheels often have an additional layer of plastic wound around the rim of the wheel. While this plastic is very thin, care should be taken to unwind and not twist it during removal. When twisted tightly, the plastic can act like a fine wire and can be sharp and strong enough to scuff a soft leather steering wheel cover if pulled firmly. To remove the plastic, pull it from behind over the wheel toward you and then downward, taking care not to twist the plastic or allow it to bunch up. Plastic coverings on the seats and the door panels should also be removed without the use of sharp objects, which can easily slip and cut the seat and/or door panel. Service Bulletin 03-00-89006, dated March 18, 03, cautions against using harsh chemicals which may discolor the finish on interior trim. You'll find a full list of recommended cleaners that are available to remove excess adhesive and general dirt from vehicle interior surfaces listed in this bulletin. Always use all cleaners sparingly. In recent times, the media has focused a great deal of attention on automotive tires. In addition, incorrect tire pressures can result in ride, handling, and/or noise concerns. So it's more important than ever to properly verify and adjust tire pressures during the pre-delivery inspection. On Buick Regal, the recommended tire pressure placard is located on the deck lid. All tires, including the spare, must be set to the recommended inflation pressure as found on the tire placard. For 2004, new Buick Regals will be shipped with exterior protection devices, including plastic sheeting, and the foam block door protectors used on prior model years. These devices should be left in place up to the time of customer delivery, unless the vehicle is to be on prominent display, such as the showroom floor. These protective devices help to minimize lot damage while the vehicle is stored at the dealership. The easiest way to remove the sheets of adhesive plastic transit protection from the body panels is by using a hose. Direct the hose spray under the plastic sheet and peel them away from the vehicle body. One item that is frequently overlooked during pre-delivery inspection is the condition of the windshield wiper blades. When a car has been sitting on the lot for a while, the wipers may take a set in the parked position. When this happens, the wipers, and particularly the right wiper blade, may not clean the windshield properly on the first use. To avoid this situation, exercise the windshield wipers using the washers during pre-delivery inspection to ensure they will work properly.
Another reminder is visor contact to the rearview mirror. Frequently, J.D. Power comments from customers indicate that the visor is in contact with the rearview mirror, and this is especially prevalent on OnStar mirrors. If the sun visor is in contact with the mirror, grasp the mirror by the windshield side of the base, swing it to the right, grab it up on top, move the forward pivot down, and then readjust your mirror for rear vision, and then check your sun visor to rear view mirror contact again and adjust accordingly. It's a nice finishing touch to wash the underhood area of the Buick Regal prior to delivery to the customer. However, I want to caution you about using high pressure washers. High pressure washers can force water into areas such as the underhood back center, and the result is a car that will not start when the customer is there to pick it up for delivery.
Another way to boost customers' perception and satisfaction with their new Regal is to ensure that the new owners have a clear explanation of the vehicle's features and controls and how to operate them.
For the 04 model year, the Buick Regal has a radio data system, or RDS radio for short. You may be familiar with some of its features which are used on other cars. Let me take a quick moment and show you a quick shortcut on how to set the radio clock. First, find a station that broadcasts the station identity as seen here. Next, simultaneously depress the hour and minute set buttons. If the radio clock time is not updated, a not updated indication will be displayed. If updated, however, time updated will be displayed on the radio face. This method may require more than one attempt. The correct time may not be broadcasting from that station at that particular moment. Remote keyless entry feedback is another item that should be explained to the customer, particularly the 4 selectable modes that are activated when the key fob is used in the lock or unlock mode. This is also true of the programmable automatic door locks. Customers should be asked which of the 4 door lock operating modes they prefer. Many customers may require an explanation of the operation of the HVAC climate controls, particularly the automatic system. For instance, customers should be aware that if the system is set at the warmest temperature setting, 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 C, or at the coldest temperature setting, 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 C, it will remain in the manual mode at that temperature. The system will not return to the automatic setting until the temperature setting is either lowered or raised and the auto button is again depressed.
While these features are covered in the owner's guide, very often a simple demonstration can provide a much clearer understanding of a system.
Okay, welcome back. And as you saw in the video, let's introduce my guest that's joining me. It's Wayne Ziegler, Brand Quality Manager for the Century and the Regal models. Welcome, Wayne.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
Now, if you have any questions about the Regal or the Century, what Wayne was discussing in our video, we do encourage you to call in at this point. Now, Wayne, while we're waiting for some questions from our audience, is there anything you'd like to add to the information that we just saw in that last video?
Yes, Andrew. The Regal is available with a Driver Information Center, or DIC, that shows average fuel economy for the vehicle. The way that the vehicle is handled during the assembly process and also to the ship lot may leave a very low value in the DIC. A customer's initial perception of vehicle fuel economy based upon information displayed in this DIC may contribute to poor ratings for fuel economy. And please, during the pre-delivery inspection, the dealership should reset the average fuel economy setting. On Regals, just set the DIC display to average fuel economy, press the reset button, and you cannot reset the instantaneous fuel economy setting. And this information is reviewed in Bulletin 030089-021. Another item I'd like to mention is the field product report. You've probably seen the bulletin, which is displayed up on the screen. It's a good idea to copy down the number for future reference. I'm sure you probably know a field product report, or FPR, is a detailed early warning report on product issues, which helps General Motors and brand quality managers such as myself to contain concerns and get quicker resolution and communication out to the dealers and ultimately the technicians such as yourselves. Let me explain from a brand quality manager's or BQM's point of view how the field product report fits into the Regal JD Power improvement picture. When good complaint, cause, correction, and VIN information is received, a solution to the problem can many times be implemented that very same day. Simply stated, the FPR can greatly reduce the number of vehicles that are produced with a problem and ultimately protects the customer.
Okay, once again, we are ready for your calls. Wayne is a great resource of information for the Century and Regal models. Now, Wayne, one thing we did see in the video was how the sun visor can actually contact the rear view mirror, and that can be a dissatisfier for some of our customers. What our customers aren't aware of is it can simply be readjusted so that it doesn't contact that mirror. And I know this has been something that we've talked about in the past, and we've also brought it up. And why don't you explain to us, to the audience, the different forms of communication that went out on that issue?
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, the first communication was on IDL in 2002, and the next communication took the form of a TechLink article, which is in the October 2002 issue, page 3, and there was also a service voicemail sent out to all Buick dealers who are enrolled in the voicemail system.
Let's try Mr. Bergstrom at Coulter Cadillac. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Andrew. I agree with you both wholeheartedly that the PDI process is obviously paramount in customer satisfaction. However, one of the issues that we do see on a regular basis is that the car's PDI that does sit for a while. How do you feel as far as how active the sales force should be in this beyond the PDI technician, and would this thoroughness be reflected in any increased times for the technicians on PDIs? Because not the strongest people do these.
Yeah, and I'm sure Wayne will back me up on this. There's a lot of different ways that different stores do PDIs, and everybody does seem to have a different method. Wayne, what do you think?
First of all, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first name.
Scott.
Scott. Okay, Scott. You know, I agree with your comments, and again, that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here doing as I'm doing right now. And I think the opportunity that the service department has to assist in this and get the customer to understand some of the features is when they're introduced to the service department, if they are, and if they aren't, you need to make sure that the salespeople are doing so. And just ask the customer, you know, are you familiar with the programming modes for the RKE and the automatic door locks? And we had a question last session about the programming mode and what was it, and I didn't remember, and I haven't found that out yet. But delayed locking, you know, do they like that? Do they want it changed? You know, there's all kinds of opportunity for the service people to capture that customer forever.
Okay, great. Thanks, Wayne. And I'll tell you what, we're going to keep moving on here. Keep in mind, Wayne is going to be sticking around, joining us for the next call-in session. If you have a question, you can call in then about the Buick Century and Regal. So let's keep moving forward. Let's take a look at the Rendezvous Ultra. Ultra Rendezvous, that is the next step for Buick in establishing itself as a contender in the premium utility market. Now, joining the Rendezvous CX and the CSL, the Rendezvous Ultra features a more refined exterior with monochromatic body color treatment and jewel-like accents. On the inside, the Rendezvous Ultra features upscale appointments with wood and chrome accents, captain's chairs, and leather seats with soft suede fabric inserts. Other available features include DVD entertainment system, GPS satellite navigation, heads-up instrumentation, automatic level control, and ultrasonic rear park assist. Now, probably the biggest news for the Rendezvous Ultra is the new power plant. It's a 3.6-liter variable valve timing engine, and it's also going to be mated to a 4T65E 4-speed transaxle. Now, GM's new global V6 engine was designed from the outset to be a completely versatile power plant. Now, you may hear this engine referred to as a high-feature V6, and the name stems from the combination of high-features technologies that are utilized on this engine to obtain the best power while consuming the least amount of fuel and producing the lowest available emission output. Now, some of you Cadillac dealers are probably familiar with this engine. This is the same engine that's utilized in the 04 CTS. And one new technology that's utilized with this engine is GM LAN, GM Local Area Network. Now, this is based on the CAN communication protocol. Now, in order to properly communicate with the ECM on the high-feature V6, you need to have the CANDI module. That's a J45289. And you got to use that in addition to the Tech 2 to interface with the ECM, to retrieve codes, and also to communicate with the ECM. So keep that in mind. Now, the new 3.6-liter V6 features cast aluminum block and cylinder head construction. And that's, of course, going to reduce weight and improve fuel economy. Now, this is a 60-degree cylinder V6, which means it doesn't have the same kind of vibration issues as the 90-degree, so we don't have to utilize balance shafts to offset crankshaft vibrations. Now, the aluminum engine front cover does have some internal steel dampening plates. There's 3 of them on this photo, and that's going to enhance stiffness of this component. It's also going to help eliminate any sources of vibration. We also have the oil pan that uses full circle mounting bolts, and it also bolts to the transmission bell housing. This again is going to enhance stiffness and rigidity. Now, this is an all-wheel drive version, and you can tell that because it has the pass-through in the pan for the front axle. The engine has dual overhead camshafts with 4 valves per cylinder and a roller finger follower valve train. One of the most significant features of this engine is its continuously variable intake and exhaust valve timing. The valve train incorporates 4 electro-hydraulically operated camshaft actuators that enable the intake and the exhaust camshafts to adjust independently through 50 degrees of crankshaft rotation. Now, with the engine running at idle, The actuators operate the exhaust cams at full advanced position for minimum valve overlap. At other engine speeds, the actuators adjust appropriately to cam timing and other various inputs that are coming into the ECM throughout the system. And another innovation on this engine is the dual-stage variable intake manifold. That's also referred to as the VIM, the VIM. Now there is a VIM switch. It's actually the switch right there. And that changes the plenum volume that is available for residence tuning of the inlet flow path. When the VIM switch is shut, the cylinders draw from two separate plenums. And in this mode, the cylinder charging when the engine is operating in low to mid-speed range. And at higher engine speeds, the VIM switch opens and all cylinders are fed from a common larger plenum, which boosts cylinder charging at high speeds. Now, one benefit of this 3.6-liter engine with this cam timing is that 90% of the peak torque is available across a very broad operating range, anywhere from 1,500 to 5,800 RPM. And these new engines also use electronically controlled throttle, or TAC, throttle actuator control. Now, the driver's throttle input is sent to the ECM from the pedal position sensor assembly, and of course you can find that at the accelerator pedal. And based on the driver's input, the actual throttle valve angle is controlled directly by the ECM. Using a torque-based engine management strategy, the ECM's microprocessor calculates optimal throttle position based on variable intake manifold, variable cam phasing, and other operational inputs. And it does optimize it and curtail it appropriately. The 3.6-liter high-feature V6's 32-bit Bosch Motronic ECM, which we see right there, does have the ability to withstand high temperatures and vibration. So as you see, it can be mounted directly on the engine. That helps us save underhood space. The ignition system is a coil-on plug type with extended life spark plugs. A single cam sensor and a crankshaft position sensor are used to manage spark timing. The fuel rail includes an internal fuel pressure damper, which attenuates the pressure pulsation in the fuel system to reduce radiated noise. Other engine mechanical upgrades include a forged steel crankshaft. Of course, as you know, that provides improved strength and durability. Now, in addition to the crankshaft sprocket, it uses molded rubber cushion rings. These cushion rings absorb the noise of the camshaft drive chain engaging the sprocket teeth. Now, also with this engine, we utilize 6-bolt main bearing caps. And also the bearings, the main bearings are made from copper infiltrated sintered steel. That is for greater wear resistance. Now, there's also a new piston cooling system. Let's take a look. Here we see the squirter. We see an exploded view of the squirter up in the corner. There's actually 3 pressure actuated oil jet assemblies in the block. Each hold a pair of squirters. These squirters coat the underside of the piston and the surrounding cylinder walls with cooling oil. This extra oil layer minimizes noise, reduces piston temperatures, and helps the engine develop more power. And of course, these cooler working temperatures also contribute to long-term engine durability. Also, the 3.6-liter does utilize a 6-quart capacity oil pan. And while we're talking about the oil system, let's talk about the oil pump. The oil pump is a new design with a tapered relief port and a bypass baffle to prevent noise from pump pressure oscillations. Tell you what, let's take a look at the all-new Buick Rainer. Now, at this point, let's introduce you to the newest member of the Buick lineup. It is the Buick Rainer. And as we're going to see, the Buick Rainer offers a level of style, ride, comfort, and performance that sets it apart from any other midsize sport utility vehicle. And let's take a look at the first of our 2 videos that are going to highlight you to the Rainer and some of these features it has to offer to us.
Buick's new Rainer is a 5-passenger sport utility vehicle based on General Motors' short-wheelbase, mid-size utility architecture. It is the first truck-based SUV in the Buick lineup, and also the first truck in almost 80 years to carry the Buick nameplate. Rainier's exterior styling is distinctly Buick in character. The large chrome grille with its vertical bar pattern recalls classic Buick models of the past. like this 1953 Skylark. Or traveling farther back in Buick history, there are traces of the grille that appeared on the famous Y-Job, the industry's first concept car created in 1938 under the direction of GM's legendary design chief, Harley Earl. Jeweled headlamps and standard fog lamps also contribute to the distinctive front-end appearance. Under the hood, Rainer will be available with a choice of 2 engines. The base power plant is GM's award-winning Vortec 4200 inline 6-cylinder engine, which delivers 275 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque with a compression ratio of 10.1 to 1. This 24-valve all-aluminum engine benefits from many of the most recent advances in GM engine technology development. This technology includes the drive-by-wire style throttle actuator control, or TAC system. The Vortec 4200 was the first GM truck engine to feature variable exhaust valve timing using a PCM-controlled camshaft position actuator system. The system can continuously vary valve overlap to deliver optimal performance and fuel economy in all driving conditions. Variable valve timing enables the 4200 to produce its full torque across a wide band range of between 1600 and 5600 RPM. It also yields higher output and reduces exhaust emissions while using regular octane unleaded fuel. The 4200 ignition system is a coil-on-plug design with a separate ignition coil connected directly to each of the platinum-tipped spark plugs. The use of individual coils and drivers allows coils more cool-down time between firing events and increases the available coil saturation time. For the 2004 model year, a secondary air injection, or AIR system, was added to the 4200. The air pump is located below the left side of the vehicle. The air system provides additional clean air to the exhaust manifold ports after firing and increases the temperature of exhaust gases entering the catalytic converter. For more enhanced performance and utility, the Rainer offers an optional all-aluminum Vortec 5300 V8 engine. This is Buick's first use of a V8 in 8 model years. Rainer is also the only V8-equipped model among GM's short wheelbase midsize SUVs. The 5.3-liter LM4 engine provides 290 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. Vortec 5300 V8 engines do not use a secondary air pump, but are equipped in 2004 with a linear EGR system in order to meet all national emissions requirements. The cooling system for both of Rainier's engine options incorporates an electro-viscous clutch fan that is controlled by the PCM using a 12-volt pulse-width modulated signal to the cooling fan relay. The PCM uses the clutch to regulate the fan speed based on inputs it monitors from a number of sensors. These are the engine coolant temperature sensor, the AC refrigerant pressure sensor, vehicle speed sensor, intake air temperature sensor, transmission fluid temperature sensor, and the ambient air temperature sensor. In operation, a Hall effect sensor in the fan clutch produces a feedback signal, so the PCM has an actual fan speed input. Both power plants are mated to the electronically controlled GM Hydromatic 4L60E 4-speed transmission. Rainer is equipped with a standard rear-wheel drive configuration that includes traction assist and a locking differential. A new Venture Gear NVG 126 transfer case, RPO code NP4, is optional. In use, the active single-speed transfer case is always engaged to provide automatic all-wheel drive and is transparent to the vehicle operator. A transfer case shift control module located on the left side of the instrument carrier support monitors the speed of the front and rear prop shafts to detect wheel slippage. There are 3 speed sensors on the transfer case. The vehicle speed sensor communicates with the shift control module through the PCM. The front prop shaft speed sensor is mounted on the top left side of the transfer case. The rear prop shaft speed sensor and the front sensor communicate directly to the control module, so it can determine the amount of slip and the percentage of torque to apply to the front axle. When wheel slippage is detected, the control module activates a motor encoder on the left side of the transfer case to apply the internal clutch pack that locks in the front prop shaft. A service all-wheel drive indicator is an integral part of the IP cluster and is controlled by the transfer case shift control module. For all-wheel drive applications, both the 4200 and 5300 Vortec engines use a pan-axle configuration, with the front drive axle running through a dry passage in the cast aluminum oil pan. The Rainer chassis incorporates GM's full-frame mid-size SUV architecture. The suspension is refined to provide the smooth ride associated with Buick sedan models. Front suspension is a coilover strut design with double A-arms and a stabilizer linking the two front lower control arms. At the rear, Rainer uses a solid axle and a 5-link suspension with a self-leveling electronic air suspension system. The air suspension compressor assembly is mounted to the frame at the rear of the vehicle. Four-wheel vented disc brakes provide high levels of brake feel, wear resistance, and noise reduction. A four-wheel anti-lock brake system, ABS, is standard. The electronic brake control module for ABS is mounted on the left side of the chassis frame. The parking brake uses the same type of drum-in-hat design as is used in some Buick sedans. Steering is a standard power rack and pinion system.
Okay, welcome back. Now, one feature we weren't able to show you in the video that does go around the 2004 Rainer model is a feature that is known as quiet tuning. Let's take a look at this new feature. The system uses increased sound absorption in the engine compartment, all four doors, and the quarter panels. Now, the quiet tuning also includes an acoustic laminate in the windshield and the front door glass, that's driver and passenger doors, as well as additional sealing at the vehicle's C and D pillars. Now the result is a remarkably quiet ride made even quieter. Now we're going to continue with our look at the Rainer with our second video to highlight some additional features for you. Let's take a look.
Rainier's roomy and luxurious interior offers the style, comfort, and convenience features you might expect to find in a Buick luxury sedan. The leather-covered front bucket seats have 6-way power seating positions and 2-way power lumbar. Front seats have the memory feature as standard and are available with heating functions. An adjustable floor pedal system is offered to accommodate all kinds of drivers. Pedal movement can be controlled manually by a switch on the steering column. Or when operating in memory mode, the driver's seat module can adjust the pedals to a preset preferred setting. In either mode, operation can occur only when the transmission selector lever is in the park position. The adjustable pedal assembly is moved forward or backward by a motor, which is fixed to the brake pedal actuator. A drive cable runs to the accelerator pedal actuator. The 3-button memory seat controls are located on the driver's door and are used to program and recall memory settings for the driver's seating, outside mirror, and adjustable pedal positions if equipped. The rear seats are also leather covered and feature 60-40 split folding seat backs. With the seats folded in the down position, the rear compartment has more than 85 cubic feet of storage space. The instrument panel features dark walnut wood grain and highly readable gauges with a driver information center, or DIC, positioned under the speedometer. The multi-language 22-character DIC acts as an interface to the driver for both systems information and programming personalization and memory functions. The leather-wrapped steering wheel has redundant controls for audio and DIC functions and may also have a button for OnStar voice recognition if equipped. The standard automatic heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, or HVAC system, features dual-zone temperature control and a high airflow configuration that enables fast warm-up and cool-down transitions. Rear seat HVAC control allows the passengers in the rear seat to direct the air upwards out of the console vents for air conditioning, or downwards out of the floor vents for heat. Rainer is offered with a number of radio and entertainment options, OnStar and rear seat audio with enhanced DVD. OnStar Generation 5 is standard. The enhanced DVD player uses the truck's Class II communication link and audio output lines. This allows the driver to select the DVD audio to be played through all of the speakers or only over the provided infrared headphones. In addition, audio control can be transferred to the rear seat audio or RSA system, so rear passengers can use their own wired headphones with the RSA volume controls. The DVD system can be operated from the back of the vehicle by using an infrared remote control. Rainer will also be available with a navigation radio system that includes digital sound processing, DSP, radio data system, RDS, with program type, PTY selections, that will seek out the kind of music you want to listen to. Rainer's rear liftgate can be unlocked using the power door lock switch or the keyless entry system described earlier. The lift glass will also unlock when the lift gate is unlocked. Press the push button on the lift gate to open the lift glass. When the entire lift gate is opened, the lift gate module will lock the lift glass after a 1 or 2 second delay. The liftgate lock is controlled directly by the liftgate module, or LGM, located under the trim panel. The LGM also acts as the receiver for the remote keyless entry system. A delayed locking function delays the locking of the liftgate and the other doors when the doors are commanded to lock using either the power lock switches or the key fob. The power door lock and window switches for each of the front doors are integral components of the driver and passenger door modules and provide direct input to the modules. Rear door lock and unlock actuators are controlled through relays by the body control module, or BCM. The BCM is located below the left rear seat next to the rear bust electrical center. When a lock switch is pressed on the door or the key fob and the delayed locking system is active, 3 chimes sound to signal that the Class II door lock message is received. The lock actuation is delayed for 5 seconds after the last door or liftgate is closed. Then the doors lock. With its impressive combination of power, comfortable ride, interior quietness, and style in a full-frame rugged SUV, Rainer adds a brand new dimension to the Buick lineup.
Welcome back, and let's introduce our new guest that's joining Wayne and I for our next call-in session. It's Sue Anderson, Brand Quality Manager for Midsize Trucks and Utilities. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you, Andrew.
And if you have a question, we do encourage you to call in. Keep in mind we have Wayne here, whose expertise is the Regal and the Century, and Sue is pretty familiar with the Rainer. Now, while we're waiting for some calls to come in, Sue, we talked about this acoustic package here that helps reduce noise in the Rainer. And is there anything special our technicians need to be aware of with the windshield glass on this vehicle?
Yes, Andrew. The windshield and front side glasses contain a special laminate designed to improve the outside noise transfer into the cabin area. The glass dimensionally is the same as the other trucks on the platform and uses all of the same attaching parts, but is a critical piece of the quiet tuning that you mentioned earlier. It's very important to make sure that the correct glass is used if there's ever a need to replace either the windshield or the front door glasses on this vehicle.
Now, Sue, this is going to be the first time that Buick technicians have seen adjustable pedals on any of the vehicles in the Buick lineup. Can you tell us, do these adjustable pedals work with the memory personalization features?
Yes, they do. As we saw in the video, the adjustable pedal position can be saved for either driver 1 or driver 2 by using the memory feature. The feature saves the driver's seat position, both outside mirrors, along with the adjustable pedals. The adjustable pedals are designed to assist drivers of a shorter stature reach the pedals while maintaining a comfortable position distance back from the steering wheel. And the pedals do not extend any further than the normal pedal position in a vehicle without the pedals.
Okay, we're just about ready for your calls, questions, and comments. So again, if you do have any, call in. One final question here for Wayne. We did mention earlier that the Regal for 2004 is going to see exterior protection for the first time. Can you talk to our technicians about how long this protection should be left on the vehicle?
Yes, Andrew. The exterior protection on the hood and front fenders
can be left on for a period of 6 months, and after that time it should be removed. Now, you might find it extremely difficult to remove it if you're trying to peel it off, but if you use the hose method as demonstrated in the video, you'll find that it comes off very easily.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Let's try our first call. Let's go to Puerto Rico. We have Mike. Go ahead, you're live.
Yes, hi. Earlier in the program, you all mentioned the delayed locking feature on, I believe, Regals and Centuries. My question is, what is the factory setting of this feature? In other words, is it enabled from the factory on all cars? This question really applies to all cars, all other models too, and even non-Buick cars.
Okay, well, Mike's question is, what is the default setting from the factory for this delayed locking feature? Sue or Wayne, do we have any idea what that may be?
Mike, I don't remember which way it's set from the plant. I believe, if I remember correctly, it is disabled and you can enable it. However, I'll go back and double check that to be sure, because again, they may have changed it for this year, but I do not think so.
I think it varies on each car line. On the Rainer, I believe that it is enabled. But you're going to find a variation on all the GM products. I don't think you're going to find any of them that are identical. It's not one way.
Mike, is there a question about how to change it? Or I guess, you know, again, are you having trouble changing it or reprogramming it to a different mode?
The reason I asked the question is because it has been my experience here that customers generally on all the cars do not like this feature to be on from the factory. And at least at this dealership, we've had the experience where the salesmen usually do not explain this feature or do not program it to the customer's preference, and they end up with this complaint. They don't usually like it. So I was just going to recommend that if it can be disabled from the factory, I think it would be a good thing.
Well, again, Mike, I might be out of place to say this, but here's where the technicians, again, can play a key role in the delivery of the car to the customer and explaining or helping at least the salespeople in explaining the features and how would you like it on the car at delivery.
Okay, very good. Let's try Mr. Bergstrom, Coulter Cadillac. Go ahead.
It's actually two questions. First one for Sue Anderson. If this is a special windshield, is there some identification on the windshield that would let a technician know whether it's OEM or not, and if it's the correct windshield? And secondarily, on the anti-delamination, a lot of stores are pulling this off because it doesn't show the cars very well. Has this been passed along to general sales managers and how strongly they feel in regard to that? Because out here in Phoenix, it doesn't take long, the sun beating down on those laminate sheets before they are going to stick to the car pretty hard.
Okay, Sue, Scott's first question is there anything to indicate to the technician that this is kind of a unique windshield glass?
On the windshield itself and on the front doors, there is a indicator, I forget what the actual name is, but it says GM and it's got laminate and it's got like a number on it. And if you go to the parts book, you're going to find, you know, at a dealership, you're going to get a different part number for those for a Buick application. I can't answer any aftermarket glass shop questions right now. They probably don't have it, but will shortly. That's where it's going to get critical that the dealer makes sure, if for some reason you use a sublet shop, that you make sure that your sublet shop knows, at least early on. Eventually they'll get it.
And Scott's second question was a good point he made. With us talking about this exterior protection, has there been any communication, and I'll ask both Sue and Wayne, has there been any communication that we know of that has gone out to the sales side of the business?
The VSSM field force right now is going back out and reiterating and retraining on PDI and the importance of leaving that protection on. And, you know, the vehicle that I used for this demonstration, that sales manager was one that removed the protection off because after a period of time it was difficult to get off.
However, if you use that hose method, I think you'll find it very easy to come off.
And we have no more questions right now. So I'd like to say thanks to Sue and Wayne for stopping by today and helping us all out. Thanks for joining us. My name's Andrew. Look forward to seeing you again soon.